Hey, it's Sami here, and welcome to the Career Kickstart Show. Now, for this episode, I'm going to be diving into a topic that I don't know if a lot of people, people talk about it. You probably hear a number of like rap songs or something where people mention the haters. But a lot of times when it comes to career development, we don't really talk about this issue because a lot of times people don't want to seem like they're bragging. And the thing is that one of the things that my clients, whether I have to kind of pull it out of them or they volunteer the information, one of the things that I hear so often is the fear of success and what it might do. Now, let me bring it back and let's start this off. One, you probably worked pretty hard for where you are. Maybe it was doing a training program while working full-time and balancing family life. Maybe it was completing a graduate program while juggling multiple jobs, internships, projects, the works. Maybe it was launching a business and working on it in the few hours between dawn and when you needed to get your kids off to school. It was the will, it was the effort, and it was the determination that got you there. I know this because most of my listeners are high achievers, they're driven people, they're folks who give a damn. And the thing that is hardest for a lot of you guys is it's not the fact that you have to strive, it's the fact that a lot of times people don't want to know how hard you worked when they ask you your secret. People don't want to hear that. They're hoping that it's going to be like a clickbait article. This one weird trick that has success coaches in Indiana furious. They want to know the 1-2-3 formula. Unfortunately, and you know this as well as I, it's not a 1-2-3 formula. Each step, if we're going to break it into 3 steps, would be a couple of dozen. Little steps in the middle. I know that is one of those things where when you try to explain to people, you get tired, because not everybody wants to put in the effort that you do. That's it at the end of the day. I hear some combination of, that sounds like a lot of work, all the time from potential clients when I give them a realistic explanation of what developing a recession-proof career entails. Of course I have strategies and systems for streamlining the process, but I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not a bakery. You will need to network. You will need to write cover letters. You will need to build your skills. It takes time and effort. You will invest something into this, whether it's time, effort, money, energy, that good old sweat equity. You got to do a thing to get a thing, because that's how you get most of the best things in life. But I know that you, dear listener, already know this, and it's one of those things that, you probably struggle with, because if you're like most successful people, you start doing the, oh, shucks, humble pie act. I know that I do that, instead of making it clear that I developed a number of online marketing and business skills over a decade, cultivated by a professional network, that I cultivated a professional network. And then I worked, 80 plus hours a week, having my full-time work, my side hustle, just like doing all these systems and tech tools and learning how to make a website and marketing and trying to find new clients. Like, that was my life when my first business launched. That's how I started this whole jet-setting, globe-trotting adventure where I, have a freelance business and my podcast. And, if you're a longtime listener of the show, you know that I've popped up in Colombia, Morocco, Bulgaria, London, wherever. Like, I'm all over the place. It didn't just happen overnight. Trust me, guys. The only money in my family is in the couch cushions. 6 kids, Catholic. Trust me, there is no trust funds running around here. It took effort. However, you don't want to sound like you're somebody who's like humble bragging or straight out bragging. And a lot of times people want to know the secret. They want to, they want to have it boiled down, even if your actual journey had a lot of twists and turns, and it's not easy. So you start downplaying it. Yeah, you start being like, well, luck and stuff, blah 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 blah, because unless you're in like a mastermind with people who are in similar industries with similar paths, a lot of people don't get it. So why are we downplaying this? Why are we downplaying our achievements? Because most people don't want to know about the early mornings or the late nights or the times when your work flowed like jazz and the other times when you felt like, you were going to bang your head against the keyboard, So you start putting up barriers between yourself and others, even in your own niche and industry, because you've been burned. It's one of those things where success can make you a little bit lonelier if you don't know how to curate your people. That's one of those hard things that when I'm kind of working with clients who have gone through my different programs, and I touch base with them and everything like that, especially if they're finishing, they finished a tech boot camp and they've got, they've risen up in their career. My entrepreneurial clients, once they've kind of gotten out of that newbie business owner area, they kind of start feeling the fact that they're pulling away from those early peers that they had. And the thing is that this is normal. And keep in mind, not everybody puts up these barriers, these boundaries. Some people, and God bless them, still take the time and effort to share their craft and their process and their insight into the industry, even after they succeed, even after they're, creating a name for themselves, even after it actually becomes a bit of a pain in the ass. And these people should be celebrated. Unfortunately, success can bring you haters. This podcast could be subtitled "The Curious Case of Bitter Haters Who Want What You Have, but Won't Put in the Same Effort into Getting It." Now, you might be like, dang, girl, that's a salty title. And it is, because I started thinking about this when I found out that a writerly inspiration of mine, a shiro, if you will, was recently hospitalized from stress, and her family and a few industry peers revealed that she had been subject, and I say that, trying to not put a buffer on it, but she was being intensely cyberbullied from other writers. So she was subject to this just intense haterade, from people in her industry, and her family and some of her close writer friends pretty much were her social media activity will have to change because of it, because she would post in these writer groups how she does these things called writer sprints. Now, the thing is that, she wasn't a fast writer. She just had a work ethic and put in the same hours writing as she did when she was a nurse. So she's putting in the hours, and she would do these writing sprints where, 25 minutes, writing as you could, 10-minute break, 25 minutes writing, go back to it. And she set up a good pace for herself where, it was something where she would share her writing sprints. She would talk about the techniques that she was doing to market her books, because she's a self-publishing author. She gave advice to newbies, so she was really giving, even with her busy schedule, she still shared so much with the writing community. And the thing is that most people loved it. However, There's always those haters. Writers can be very lovely people, but as with any art, there is in the art community, whatever it may be, there can be folks who have a bit of the green-eyed monster, especially around people who are prolific, popular, and profitable. Like right there, the three P's can be like a magnet to these bitter blocked Bettys. It wasn't like my writerly shero was, J.K. Rowling or anything, but she was making good money, and she had used her skills with, and her work ethic from being a nurse to create, where some writers like to laze about trying to find a muse. She was like, no, I'm going to write every day. I have bills to pay. I have disabled family members to take care of. Like, I can't wait for a muse. And I'm going to be savvy about having systems and support and everything like that. And she pretty much was able to do a lot of really good work. She shared that. And every time she did, like, people would, bash on her, like, send her terrible messages, like, private message her to like kill herself and shit like that. Like, and this is somebody who, if you came across her post, like very like perky and personable and just like fun and nice. It's one of those things where I did not know about any of these bullying until it was like brought to, everybody's attention in this one community, because I was like, who would do that? That'd be like kicking a golden retriever. Like, are you serious? It's like smashing a cinnamon roll. What are you doing? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you are, just like a puffy little pastry, person bringing joy. The truth is that when you are successful, you will trigger people. Your audacious dreams and your dogged pursuit of them will remind the haters of the dream that they left on the shelf somewhere. That's it. It's not you. It will always be them. Now, I firmly believe that most people, they're going to wish you well. Most people are fine. And in fact, most people do not care enough to be a hater. But there is always that vocal and mean-spirited percentage that will try to dim your light, because it makes them feel bad because they're not doing enough to maintain their own, and that's why I felt like this episode was important to talk about, because we talk about all the good things about success, how to get success, et cetera, but we don't talk about what it does sometimes socially. And that is one of the biggest fears that my coaching clients have come to me with, is the fear of success, because they know that some people in their life will not support them. Misery loves company, after all. We all know this. And they know that there are some people, whether they're in our lives or adjacent or like a crappy coworker you can't shake, they will not want to know that you got to where you are because you worked at it. That's one of those things with the haters. It doesn't matter who they are. They like to throw suspicions and be like, oh, you got there because there must be a trust fund, or you got there because you're pretty. Oh, you got there because your dad was the boss, or whatever the deal is. Like, they have to assume that you gamed the system. And it's one of those things where it does not matter who you are. They might be like, oh, this is because of affirmative action, or oh, this is because you're a pretty girl, or oh, this is because you're a dude, or whatever the deal is. They don't want to understand that you put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and you did the follow through. And that's how you got to where you are. So the thing is that since those people won't ever understand, you have to do things to make sure that you protect yourself. So how can you make sure the haters won't derail your ascent? One, as you develop your success, develop an equally thick skin along with it. At the end of the day, unfortunately, some people will misunderstand you. Even if they're not full-on haters, as the kids say, some people, they just won't get it. And there are always going to be the people who don't deserve your attention or explanation. We all know when somebody rolls up on us and they are looking to start an argument. They already got their straw man, and all their, you know, crappy arguments set up because they're having an argument with somebody in their head, not with you. They're looking to make points on some imaginary scoreboard. They're not looking to have a discussion. What is the deal with them? What can you do? You can't do much besides block, ignore, etc. Not everybody deserves your truth. Not everybody deserves your explanations. Not everybody deserves your time. That's it at the end of the day. You don't need to be like Mariah Carey and order people not to make eye contact, but you need to know which battles to fight and when to do conflict resolution. Not everybody deserves it, and a lot of people are just there just to mess with you. Honestly, not everybody comes to the table with good intention, so understand that. And that kind of goes into my next point, number 2, which is self-care is key. I'm not talking about bubble baths. I'm not talking about getting a pedicure. I'm talking about when you are a high achiever, you can immerse yourself into projects and forget to take a breath. We're all our most sensitive when we are tired. So make sure that you understand where your energy leaks are, because that's going to stop you from being, maybe tired one day and get baited online or in person by somebody who's just kind of stepping up to you just to be a jerk and to troll you. You want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because that is how you sustain your climb to success, so make sure that you are remembering that. I know that it sounds kind of like a weird thing to slip self-care into a whole talk about haters, but you want to make sure that you are showing up strong, because that confidence, that faith in yourself, that healthiness, that, what do they say? The best revenge is success, or something like that. If you are looking good, well rested, feeling strong, that's the thing where that makes you Teflon to haters. Always remember that. Now, number 3, this is not the hardest thing on this list, but it's still pretty hard. You have to understand that not everyone can come on your journey. This isn't to say that you shouldn't do conflict resolution. I'm not saying burn every bridge, but you need to pick and choose the people in your life. If you have a friend who always passive aggressively picks at your dreams and accomplishments, you need to ask yourself why that person's in your world. You can't pick everybody in your life, whether it's, family or coworkers. We all have folks that we might have to deal with. However, we have a lot of people that we can decide if they stay or not in our sphere. As you evolve in your life and career, you should have people who believe in you. People that you share similar dreams with. People that, boost you up, give you energy, people that inspire and challenge you to be better, not people that bring you down, not people that encourage the worst parts of you, not people that, get bummed when you're happy. I'm not saying trade in all your friends. I'm saying that you can curate your circle. You have the power. I give you a permission slip. Because at the end of the day, it's not grade school when you had to give holiday cards to the whole class. You're an adult. You can choose who you want in your world, and you can choose people who make your world a better place. Now, the last one's probably the hardest, and I say that it's hard for me because I don't know if you're like me, maybe you are, maybe you're not, but I can be a bit of a people pleaser. People like me. I don't want to make people sad. I actively try not to be a jerk, So when I find that people don't like me, I'm just like, what? I'm trying so hard to be likable. However, one thing that's taken me probably decades to learn is, and this is my 4th point, is ignore the noise. you know? And this might sound like a weird Leo power flex, but I have no idea if I have haters. I have a rule with friends who like to gossip and stuff like that, that I have no interest in knowing if anybody is talking trash about me. I do not want to know, because that triggers a part of me that's a people pleaser. And in this case, ignorance is bliss. I also don't have frenemies. When I talk about curating your circle, it's because I've done it. I also don't do Google alerts on myself, unless like it is a client review or testimonial. Like what other people think about me is honestly none of my business. Like that's it at the end of the day. And that has made me so much happier because I don't deal with drama. And once you kind of ignore the noise and you don't become, I guess, a convenient or easily baited target, you'll find that people who are haters or trollers, they go away. Or maybe they're around, but you're just not paying attention, which honestly is going to burn their biscuits even more. So ignoring the noise, the power to ignore, is one of the greatest powers in this world. So be able to cultivate that, because it's going to make everything a lot easier in your world when you can put those blinders on, focus on your stuff, stay in your lane, make sure that you are concerned with what you have to do, and the people around you who are your positivity crew, the people that care about you, that you care about them, that you're cheering each other on. That's going to drown out any noise, from the negative Nellies. So I know that these are just a few suggestions. It's not the be all end all in advice when it comes to haters. And I barely scratched the surface when it comes to cyberbullying, because that's a bigger thing at the end of the day. However, these tips can make a pretty big difference in your world, because success is a funny thing. Prepare yourself for the good and the bad. However, I know that I've made in this episode, like haters are this big thing. I mean, they're not. They get the amount of attention that you give them, But at the end of the day, you can't let other people keep you small. You have too much potential for that thing that only you can give to the world. You need to unleash it. It doesn't matter what other people think or what they say, or what they're trolling about online, because you're better than that, and it's worth it to chase your dreams. You will find that once you start loving yourself, loving your life, which, FYI, this is a natural consequence of living up to your potential and going for your dreams. That sort of love, that is just something that happens when you actually do the thing that you were meant to do. You're going to find that once you start with that and you start bringing that positivity into your world, that energy will attract amazing people to you. There might be some growing pains, but that is nothing that some good boundaries and a healthy dose of fuck the haters can't take care of. So I hope you enjoyed this very special episode on how to deal with the haters. As always, I'm Sami Gardner, your career specialist, and this is the Career Kickstart Show. Bye! Change your career, change your life at CareerKickstartAcademy.com.